But I definitely know I see kind of putting the work in. I notice when he's out there playing, I can see like a change in the way he's kind of like holding himself
Mhm.
out there. And yeah, I mean, we had an honest conversation about, how he feels in terms of how things have gone, and he seems to really be enjoying it. And I think it's good to have that little bit of like an accountability coach a little bit like
Yeah,
there for him. So I think from that perspective, it's been good helping him get like organized with what he needs to be doing.
right,
Yeah,
right. Would you
yeah.
agree with that, Jackson?
I'd say so, yeah.
What part specifically for you? I mean,
I think the big thing that I took is kind of like the during the game, seeing like how I'm processing things differently and how I'm like growing deeper into the season and how kind of like my trying to think what the word is. Kind of like how my habits are kind of changing throughout the season, like growing.
yeah, yeah, for sure. What like maybe more, I know we talked a lot about the leadership side and which makes me happy. I told you this last time, but it's like we both naturally gravitate towards what we can do for the team, even more than ourselves sometimes. So talk a little bit about that side of you. Obviously it's not a one-man team, but the way you were able to help, you guys finished I mean, to brag on you, you had what, the best season the past like decade, was there ever? Like what was
14
the
years, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. How do you
Yeah.
think what was your main part in that, Jackson?
I think this is something like we talked about was kind of being that like motivator. Like I think a lot of the games I was coming home with like a dried out voice. I think I texted you the one time I was like the voice is kind of dead from the game, but I
Yeah.
think that's kind of the biggest thing is that I've been like loud throughout the games, kind of like guiding people, especially like this might be a little off topic, but now that I've had like experience in the midfield from last year, my like information and like guidance to those guys in the midfield can kind of be more
Yeah.
like not personalized, but it could be more helpful since I know what it's like to be in the midfield.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For sure. Miss Lindsay, did you see a difference in like that? I mean, you said like the way he carried himself, but as far as like the leadership and energy side
Yeah, I mean,
as
I
well.
I have to be I saw it kind of last year, even with club when he was in that midfield position and kind of got put in like the captain role, like watching
Hmm.
him kind of grow. And then where I think I saw a difference, like he kind of came in as a junior with some pretty strong vocal seniors like on the team already. So seeing him kind of being out there and being vocal as the year went on, I could see the kind of the confidence building,
Right.
right? Because you're coming in, there's, really leaders already kind of out there, and he found his place to also be a leader for the team. So
Right.
yeah, I would agree with that
Right.
for
Right. Right.
sure. Yeah,
For sure. What
yeah.
about what about on the field, Jackson? Like again, I know we're repeating some stuff, but sounds like you're not sharing much, which I was the same way. I was the same exact way. But what do you think was the most important part of you like on the ball and through the film and everything?
I think the biggest thing I've learned is probably like my defensive standpoint, especially because it can be used like if I'm playing fullback or in the midfield, like we talked about, I might switch with club or not. But
Mhm.
it's kind of like the big thing that we've been talking about past like 3 weeks is like the discipline that I have on defense.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've seen myself grow more into it. Like I feel like I'm not being too scared going into tackles because I know I'm just kind of like waiting for that moment to come where I can go into the tackle. And
Right.
then another probably big thing is probably my confidence on the ball too, because I feel like past years I've kind of settled for doing like a similar thing on the ball, but this year at least during high school season, I felt like I was doing a bunch of like different things with the ball, kind of
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. For
Mhm.
sure.
Makes
Like
sense.
what?
like we talked about like cutting in. I was like beginning of the year, a lot of what I was doing was cutting in, and then I know we talked about kind of specializing on that, and that's what I felt like I did, and then eventually
Yeah.
I felt like it was happening too much. It was like too readable, and I was kind of figuring out ways to keep with the sideline and either like beat the guy or play to my winger and get around him.
Right. Right. For sure. So what do you think it was the film that helped you out the most, or what? Give me some feedback on what, you know, what allowed you to grow the most, like while we've been working together.
I would say like the film and like the specified trainings probably helped
Yeah.
the most. I'd probably say the
Right.
specified trainings helped the most out of the two because like I've already seen like the growth and we've been doing the cross thing. I've already seen
Yeah.
growth in that. So
Yeah. For sure. What did you I know you mentioned it, but you didn't elaborate too much on the crossing side, what that looks like in game. I know we chatted one time, I think it was about we did the film and you looked at I was pointing out like a little point for you where it's like checking your shoulder when
mhm.
you're running down the line. You know what I'm talking about? And then I
think
think you sent a text like you went out and you hit that cross or whatever. I don't remember 100%, but what yeah, speak a little bit more on that.
trying to remember. Was
Like
that the
just
one
the
from
crossing. I know it was like a specific example, but
uh
how the crossing's improved.
I mean I feel like it's just like the accuracy and like the confidence knowing that I can cross it and dump it in the right spot because I think the past few years I've had the struggle and confidence that I can make it to the spot that I want to, but with like the training that I've been doing with crossing, I kind of like
Right.
know where I can pinpoint where I want the ball and then kind of drop it right there. And I think in like our last game that was on Friday, there was a lot of that.
His
Yeah.
accuracy is definitely, um, I mean, I definitely see it. Like he's passing the ball and a lot of times in the air, and it's like at the person's chest, like no matter where it is in the field. And that is nice to see because whether it was a confidence thing or what, I know, and he's going to get mad at me saying this, but I would get really frustrated when he would kind of pass to the person like literally right next to him. And a lot of times, like with people all around that person, where now I've noticed he's feeling more comfortable and confident in himself to kind of take that long ball and know that it's going to get to the person.
Right.
Like he did that a lot the
Right.
last few games. Really accurate to the person he was like trying to get the ball to. And
Yeah.
it wasn't, there were no like, I don't even know this whole like high school season, you didn't really have any, what I like to call like dinkers.
Well, I'm not gonna remember it.
Yeah.
So like just more, I guess, yeah, I mean I 100% agree. Like more of like just the impact balls instead of
Mhm.
just the little j dishes, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that's something we talked about
Yeah,
pretty much like the first
next
week.
part.
You remember that, Jackson?
Yeah,
Like it was more, you know, are you just playing the ball to play it, or are you playing the ball because you're the guy, like you're the player that can make an impact and you're helping the team, you know what I mean? You
yeah,
remember, am I getting that right?
yeah. It was like making the impact play and kind of I forget what the full saying was, but it was like,
Right.
are you making the I forget what it was, but it was something whether making the impactful pass or the something other pass.
Yeah. For sure. For
So
sure.
let me ask you, Chris, like, how have you seen, or have you seen a difference in Jackson from kind of the first times meeting with him to now?
Yeah. I mean, I would dive into first just the way that he approaches like the calls that we're having and the communication and the accountability on that end. I think, I mean, obviously this is like something we're going back and forth and talking, but the way that he would come and like the conversations that we would have on say like the 10th week, 11th week, where I think I told you this, like they were a lot different than the first week. The first week was very like kind of surface level, which is fair, but which is very surface level. And you know, now we're getting to like the deep stuff of, you know, here's him being accountable, holding himself. Like this is what I did
Mhm.
well, what I didn't do well. And no, I know I'm going to touch on it a lot, but like I really do appreciate the comments and like intention, not just the beginning of season where it was like, what can I do in this clip? But it was like, we just had a win streak and it's the best the school's done. And it's like I want to be the guy, like speaking for him, like he was like, I want to be the guy that um like I know I need to keep the team on the right page. I need to keep us,
Hmm.
level with the heads. Like, and so that I've seen a lot in that from the film alone. It's pretty cool because it's pretty easy to have a coach or somebody that's been through it and to have a conversation and listen and then, nod your head and be like, cool. But it's different when we have a conversation and we go over some film of, hey, you need to cut inside the defender in this situation. And then the next week he's sending me a clip of him trying it and doing
Gotcha.
it.
Yeah,
You
gotcha.
know,
Uh-huh.
and so we're going from that, and then it's, hey, like here's what you did this well, and you're a good defender, but I'd circle the clip and be like, this is an opportunity for you to again be more disciplined on the defensive side and hold your
Mhm.
1v1. And then the next week we're talking about examples that he did that.
Okay,
And things are never gonna be perfect. A lot of times,
sure.
like you said, you level up and then you get to new problems. Like, okay, well now I'm cutting inside, but now I'm in this situation.
Hmm.
So, and I think that's the beauty of it. But that's on the field alone, that's been a pretty big difference I've seen.
Okay, cool.
What about on just like Jackson, like I know it's not a necessarily like a part of like the training plan and everything, but just us being able to be in contact every week, every weekend, how has that helped? Because on my end, like obviously like I'm always trying to push you to new levels, but I definitely hear your feedback on what that's done for you.
I think it's something like both you guys said with like accountability. Like I can't be going into the call and having nothing done that you asked me to do. So I think knowing that I have to do stuff every week, like kind of to be prepared for the call, it, like helps me make sure that I do get those things done by the end of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to brag on him, I'm guessing you didn't share this, but to make I know it'd make my mom proud, but one of like we're setting weekly goals and it wasn't uncommon he's putting in like stuff for his schoolwork
Hmm.
or making sure he's on top of that side of things. So again, that's more of a maturity thing, which I don't think it's a surprise why you have improved because you've had that level of accountability of doing the things that it takes.
Hmm.
Because I'm guessing like the more that you're able to put into it, you've seen more results, right?
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. I've seen, like I said, even like watching the high school, I've seen where he's taking those chances with like the passes. He's making runs up the side, right? He's not like afraid to get in there and like get involved and try to make things happen.
It's easier to compliment a guy
mm,
that isn't disciplined and he doesn't turn in his homework, say if we're in class, and he doesn't do it, and then he turns it in, he does his job, and then the teacher or whoever is, everyone's like, oh, great job, great job. And then the kid next to him, who's doing everything on his end, week in, week out, you don't get that as
yeah,
much. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So I hope like I hope at least the progress you've made is proof of that, is a compliment enough. But I mean, I definitely amend it. Like I do appreciate what what you've been putting in because
Gotcha.
Well,
I love seeing you
and the
get
flip
better.
side of that, I mean, obviously what you're doing is kind of also like motivating him, right? Like that he's seeing the progress because if he wasn't seeing the
Right,
progress, he'd kind of shut down, right? And be like, okay, this is a waste of
right.
my time. So,
Yeah.